Today we're going to make a value scale layer cake. And the way that we're going to do this is we are going to use different values. Remember, value meaning the lightness and darkness of something or a color. And we're also going to add a color with our values to create tints, shades, and tones. Now remember, a tint is when you mix a color with white to make it lighter, and that becomes a tint of that color. If you want to make a shade, you mix that color with black to make it darker, and that becomes a shade of that color. However, if you want a tone is when you add both white and black to that color, like a gray to that color, to make it just kind of grayish. So we are going to practice making different values with crayons. Now, what you are going to need for this project is a piece of white paper. You're going to need a pencil. If you have a black marker to outline, that's great. If you don't, it's okay. If you also have a ruler to help you make the straight lines, you can use a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, remember, it's okay, you can just freehand it. But you're also going to need crayons to color it in, especially a black crayon, because the black crayon is what's going to allow us to do all the different sort of values. Okay, so if you have all your materials ready, then we can get started. The first thing that you can do is get out your pencil, and then towards the top of the page, we're just going to draw a very flat, wide oval. So you can look to see how I do it. I'm just kind of making a curved line, going nice and wide, and then curving around, coming down, and meeting it at the other side. Again, your oval doesn't have to look exactly like mine. If it's a little bit wider, a little bit narrow, it's okay. The next step we're going to do is draw the sides of our cakes. We're going to draw 2 vertical lines, but stopping about, let's say like 3 inches above the bottom of your paper. So if you don't know what that is, maybe just take your fingers and kind of make a little mark above all your fingers, and that's about 3 inches. Or if you have a ruler, you can measure it out, up to you. But we're gonna take that ruler, we're gonna line it up with the side of our oval, and we're gonna draw that straight vertical line, stopping 3 inches above the bottom of the page. So again, take your ruler, or you can freehand it. You're going to take your pencil, draw that straight vertical line, stopping 3 inches above. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side of our oval. So same thing, you can either use your ruler or just look to see where your other line had stopped, make a little mark, and either freehand it or use your ruler to draw that straight vertical line from the edge of your oval, stopping at our mark. There we go. Nice. Okay. So we have this kind of half of our cylinder. What we're going to do is we're just going to draw a parallel curved line on the bottom, connecting our 2 vertical lines. Now, parallel, remember, means going in the same direction at the same time. So we're just going to do kind of like a smile curve, a slight smile curve from one vertical line to the next. Great. So now it looks like we have our cylinder cake, but we're going to draw the cut part on the inside. So what you can do is, if you want it to be directly in the middle of your page, you can take your 2 pinchers on either side of your paper. You can fold it in half from side to side, crease it, and then open it back up again. And that fold is going to show you the direct center of our paper. So what you want to do is, in the middle of that oval at the top, in the direct middle of our oval, you want to make a little mark, right? We are going to draw a vertical line from that mark down all the way to the bottom of our cylinder of our cake. Okay, so you can either freehand it or take your ruler And what you're gonna do is you're gonna just draw that straight vertical line from the middle of that oval all the way down to the bottom of the cake cylinder and stop. Awesome. Then what you're going to do is we're going to figure out where the sides of our slices is going to end up. So about halfway between the side of your cake and the middle of your cake on the curved line of your oval, just make a little mark somewhere about halfway. Okay, what we're going to do is from that mark, we are going to draw again another straight vertical line going all the way down and stopping at the bottom of our cylinder of our cake. So take either your ruler or you can freehand it from that mark, go all the way down, straight vertical line, stopping at the bottom of your cake. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Look for the in-between point, in between the middle line and the other side of your cake. On that curved line, make a little mark. We're going to draw that vertical line from the mark, going down, stopping at the bottom of your cake. Awesome. Okay, now what we are going to do is we're going to just draw two diagonal lines from this, this center line going down, meeting up with this line, and then another one meeting up with this line. So again, you can freehand it or just use your ruler, drawing a diagonal line from the center line down to the point right here, and another one from the center line to that point. Awesome. But wait, you might notice, hey, wait a minute, the bottom looks a little bit different, and you're right. What we need to do is we need to also draw two diagonal lines going inward. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the same type of triangle shape that like we did here. So just a little bit above the bottom of that center line, just a little bit above, make a mark. And then we're going to draw a diagonal line from, again, this line to the center point. And then we're going to do it to the other side. So again, drawing a line from that center point to this center line. Awesome. Great. Okay, now we're going to erase the lines that we don't need. And the lines that you don't need is our curved line in this section from our oval and in this section here. We don't need that like bottom of the triangle, so we can erase that. We can also erase this little line here and the bottom of our curved line there. Awesome. So you should have what looks like a cylinder that has been cut in like a slice being cut out of it. Okay, now we're going to draw the lines, the diagonal lines that create each layer of our cake. So what you can do is you can just find, let's say we'll find like the center of our cake. So what you can do is you can even fold your piece of paper in half like so. Fold it back up. All right, so we can make a little mark here. And we can look to see how many slices we can fit here. 1, 2, and then let's do 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots, kind of evenly distributed along that center line. Okay, and what we're going to do is from those dots, we're going to draw parallel diagonal lines from the dot hitting that center line. So you can watch me how I do it. There we go. My diagonal line is like that. I'm gonna go from this dot, stopping at that center line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And last one, 6. Awesome. Okay, now I'm gonna do diagonal lines going from the dot, stopping at this line. Okay, so again, going from the dot, stopping, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one, 6. Awesome. So you should have these different sort of sections of your layer cake already, okay? And if you want to decorate your cake by adding, lines that show frosting, what you can do is draw some scallop lines along the top. Scallop lines meaning just a curved line, curved line, curved line, curved line like that. You can do it along the bottom. You don't have to, but it's up to you. I'm just adding a little icing at my bottom right here. And I'm gonna do a big drippy wavy line of frosting kind of in the center, but stopping at my slices. I'm gonna do the same on this side. Drippy, drippy frosting. Awesome. And maybe last but not least, I'll draw my plate that it's on. So all you're gonna do is start from the side of your cake towards the bottom, draw a curved line out, around, almost like you're doing another oval, coming out and around and hitting the side on the other side. That can be my little plate. Okay, so now that I have my cake drawn, let's concentrate on doing our different values, tints, shades, and tones on the inside, okay? Because that's what we really want to practice. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab that black crayon and we are going to fill in the bottom layer of our cake with black, and we're going to press hard with the black crayon while we're filling in these two sections. So go ahead, take your black crayon, press pretty hard, filling in the white space with your black crayon. Okay, so I'm filling in this space right here, and then I'm gonna fill in that space on the same layer as well. Filling in as much as possible, pressing hard. It should look black when you are pressing hard with your crayon. Okay, next layer. I'm still going to use my black crayon, but I want to make a shade. Okay, so that means I'm going to put my color with my black. So I'm not going to press down super hard with my black. I'm going to ease up my pressure a little bit so that some of my color can show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that black crayon, I'm going to fill in these two sections, pressing down just a little bit lighter than what I did with my first layer. So see how already this one looks like a dark gray, not black. Okay, so we want to fill in those two sections by easing up our pressure a little bit to create a dark gray layer. Nice. Then for our next layer, I bet you can guess it, we're gonna still add black, but we're gonna make it a little bit lighter. We're gonna make it more of a tone, meaning we're allowing a little bit of the white to be in there as well with our color. So I'm gonna press even lighter than what I did with this layer. So go ahead with your crayon, even lighter, fill in the two sections, but allowing the white of the paper to show through so it looks like more of a medium gray. Awesome. Now the one right above it, we're also making a lighter tone. So that means I'm gonna barely barely press and fill in this layer with my black. Barely pressing. So the lightest pressure you could ever give with your crayon, you're gonna barely press down so that it is a super light gray. Awesome. Okay, now that we have our 4 layers at the bottom filled with our black, dark gray, medium gray, and light gray, here's where we're going to start adding the color to create the shades, tones, and tints of our top layers. So you can pick any color crayon that you want. It will work with any color. So because I used blue with this one, I'm going to show you a different color. I'll use pink. So at the bottom layer, I can use my pink and try to color the pink and mix it with my black, but look, black is the strongest color wizard, and because I pressed so hard, you really cannot see my pink showing up until I go to that layer above. And because I left some of the white of the paper to show through, if I take my crayon and I press really hard with my pink on top of that medium gray, you can already see a little bit of the pink is showing up to create a shade of the pink. Do we see that? It is a very dark shade of pink because the black was so powerful. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to my next layer. Because I have, this one I didn't press so hard with my black. If I press down with my pink on this layer, notice how this one shows way more of the pink. So it's actually making it a lighter shade of pink. There we go. All right, the next one, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna press hard with my pink, and because I barely pressed hard with my black, this pink is really gonna show up to be a much lighter shade, closer to the original color. Awesome. So now I have all the layers where I added black, black shades and tones. Right now I'm gonna do my next layer with my pink, but I'm gonna start making it more like tints, meaning I'm gonna try to have more white with my color. Now, how do you do with that with crayons? You don't add a white crayon with it. What you can do is you can, again, use a lighter pressure to allow the white of the paper to show up more. So for this next layer, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fill it in, but maybe I won't press super hard with my pink crayon. I'm gonna press enough so that the pink shows up really well, but I'm not pressing super hard, right? Notice how it's kind of a lighter pink. The white of the paper is showing up. For the next one, to make it an even lighter tint, what am I gonna do? Press even lighter. So I'm gonna ease up my pressure for this next layer. There we go. Now for the last layer, the lightest tint, I'm barely gonna press down with my pink. It's barely gonna show up to try to make it even lighter than that other layer that I had below. Now, if your layers are looking too similar, don't worry, you can start, if they're too similar, you can just kind of, again, like make them just a bit different by adding more pink, a layer of pink where you've really pressed harder on them, and that will make them much different, okay? All right, so now we have the most important part of our cake finished, the value scale on the inside. Now, what you can do is we're gonna outline it, and you can color the other parts of your cake in any colors that you want. So I'm gonna go into warp speed to show you how to outline and then color in the cake, the plate, and the background in whatever colors you want. All right, so I'm gonna go into warp speed. There, as you can see, I finished up coloring in all the other elements of the cake, including the frosting, some sort of patterning, a plate, and a background, and now it is complete. All right, well, I hope you have fun with this project, and I can't wait to see yours.